Seth Keschel here, talking about Berks County, Pennsylvania. I'm going to show you how, through voter registration trend by party, population growth factors, and also voter behavior, why Berks County, Pennsylvania is 20,000 votes heavy for Joe Biden in 2020, meaning there's 20,000 more votes than would be expected based on a reasonable trend analysis of the final results. I was prompted to make a video on Berks County by a social media post by one of the Berks County commissioners, Christian Leinbach, who insists that a audit has been done in Berks County. Well, maybe he's correct. A risk limiting audit or a small audit that is not comprehensive is not going to reveal the foundational issues with the election fraud in Pennsylvania, which, by the way, is a state Donald Trump carried easily based on any reasonable indicators, bellwethers, trends, and predictors. Without further ado, I'm going to jump into the numbers here. First thing you need to know about Berks County, this is a heavily Republican trending county in eastern Pennsylvania. We do have a modest population growth, but that's not very much. This is just 4% in the county. This is less than 20,000 people in the last 10 years have moved into Berks County. You don't have a high tech center here. Pennsylvania, of course, suffers from serious industrial issues, which is why the region has trended heavily Republican for the last couple of decades, the last 12 years, especially as Obama walked off the stage in 2008. Once Trump came on center stage, things changed dramatically. Let's start out in 2004. You see Bush here with a 7.5% victory in Berks County, 6.5%, I should say. This is an 11,000 vote victory for President Bush. And then what happens in Pennsylvania? Pennsylvania underwent the largest Democrat landslide since 1964 in 2008. Obama carried Berks County by over 9 points, and his margin was 17,000 votes. So basically, this county flipped completely with higher turnout for Obama. In 2008, the county was 11% more Democrat than it was Republican. Now, this county is like much of Pennsylvania, where registered Democrats do vote Republican at federal level. This is how a state with a Democrat plus 7.5% registration is still a Trump state, because you have some of this West Virginia effect in the West, and you have a lot of registered Democrats that do vote Republican. This is why the trends matter. Here's your trend. In 2012, the county is now slightly more favorable for Republicans. It's 10.8% Democrat. So this is down a little bit, but it's not towards Republicans because they liked what they saw in Mitt Romney. You can see this on the right. There was a net loss of 3,300 plus Republicans between 2008 and 2012. But just like the rest of the state, an even bigger loss of Democrats. So between 2008 and 12, the white working class Democrat began to die off from the Democratic Party. And then it really accelerated mostly throughout the region between 12 and 16 as Trump came on the scenes. There was a loss of the net voter roll of almost 9,000 registered voters. But what this shows you, even the slight tick towards Republicans, that the county is going to trend Republican, and indeed it does. It flips by a point. So Romney carried the county by a single point, which was almost 2,000 votes. So this small nudge towards the Republicans, even though it came through both parties losing, was an indicator that the Republicans were going to trend and flip the county. Now let's see this in action in 2016. Here is a 3.5% move towards Republicans, 7.4% Democrat now in 2016. This is a trend. Republicans are trending the county. But this time it's because they like what they see in Donald Trump. Here's almost 7,200 new net registered Republicans, and now the Democrat column continues to go down. We have a gain of 9,400 plus registered voters in the rolls, and look at the results. You have the largest Republican vote gain on record in the county, which is 12,000 votes, 2012 to 2016. And what happens here when you have a gain of that size, now that you're in the middle of a coalition shift? This is a coalition shift all over the state of Pennsylvania away from Democrats. People that voted for Obama are now voting for Trump. The totals go like this. So you have this massive number of new Trump voters, 12,000, and we have a plunge in the Democrat vote. Now, of course, you have some of this in third party. You have 9,000 third party votes. Some of this is standard tax cut Republican, soft Republican. Some of it's Democrat. Some places in Republican strongholds, it's easy to draw a ratio based on historical performance. Here, I'm going to be a little more generous in the Biden column. I would assume that this is probably half and half, even if that's not true. In 2020, now you have this surge towards Republicans. This is 4.5 points now. This is bigger. This is an even bigger net move than we had from 12 to 16. 12 to 16 forecasted that Trump would win the county by 10 points. Look at this. Look at the trend here for Trump. So now it's a 10-point county. Just after 8 years ago, it was a 10-point Democrat county. Here's your corresponding trend. This is 4.5 points in favor of Republicans and Trump. This is not really Republicans. This is a Trump shift. We have 9,600 new registered Republicans. Now we have a loss of almost 2,000 registered Democrats. There are 12,000 registered voters net added to the rolls. Here's a bigger gain than there was from 12 to 16. This is a gain of 13,000. So an extra 1,000 votes gained. This is not a Trump turnout enthusiasm problem. And here's your Democrat column. This has come with a loss every year. So Romney, there was 14,000 votes lost in 2012 for Democrats when Romney came on the scene. And then you had another loss here for Democrats of 5,000. This is 97, 83, 78. So observe a trend. I think that any reasonable estimate in Berks County is going to have a vote total somewhere in the 70s, mid to low 70s, based on Trump's gains over here, based on this registration data, based on the complete dying off of the union class white Democrat. So now we're going to flip the slide. I'm going to show you where Biden's vote total came in. Remember, my estimate here is the 70s. And there's 93,000. So from the bottom, the Democrats are defrauding counties that Trump wins. They still come up red on the map. Trump still has a higher share of the vote than he did in 2016. But look, the margins are cut into. This is not the number that corresponds with the trend. This number is almost in line with Obama's 2008 vote total. Population growth and the progression of time does not guarantee more votes. The trends are what matters. So, Mr. Leinbach, I think that you need to be cognizant of these trends. I think you know about them. And I think that you need to understand your voter rolls are dirty. You need to go through these voter rolls and identify where these phantom voters are that are casting absentee mail ballots. That audit you're talking about is not a sufficient audit. These trends don't match up.